Okay, thank you so much for coming, Mr. Yukawa. So this is my first interview. I tentatively call this Everyday Buddha. So this is for people who are interested in awakening or meditation. And the theme is, what is awakening? What is Satori? And I just wanted to kind of share people's view about awakening meditations, and is it difficult to attain enlightenment or awakening versus maybe everybody's already awakened, like everyday Buddha. So maybe it's not that far-fetched to kind of get to the state of awakening, maybe. So I am inviting some of the people who I think are awakened or had a glimpse of awakening enlightenment or have lots of interesting story about it. So my first guest here today is IT journalist, Mr. Tsuruaki Yukawa. And we attended the same course called Finder's Course a few years ago. And this is a course about helping people to get a glimpse or get awakened by using different methods, positive psychology or meditations and so on. So that's how we got to know each other. And we had an interview like this, when was it? January? So maybe a few months ago,
Right.
but we did that
Mhm.
in Japanese. So I
Mhm.
thought we might do this in English for people who are in English speaking countries who might be interested in the same theme. So, well, welcome, Mr. Yukawa.
Well, thank you for having me.
Okay. So, well, usually you have like a cartoonish, Winnie the Pooh or your cartoon background. So today it's a little bit different. So, is that a real thing or is that a virtual
This
background?
is a virtual thing, and I don't have the Winnie the Pooh background today. I don't know why it disappeared. Yeah.
Okay. Well, no, it looks very, very nice.
How about this? This
Oh,
my
that's,
my
yeah,
character. My
that's
character.
right, right. Oh, awesome. Wonderful. Okay, great. Thank you so much. Um, so, well, Mr. Yukawa has a Wikipedia. I have only a few handful of friends who has his own or her page on Wikipedia, but he's one of them. And from that, I know that you have studied at San Francisco State University when you were young,
Right. A
and
long time
you're
ago.
a
Yes. Mhm.
journalist, and you stayed in the U.S. around the Bay Area for what, 20 years or so?
Yeah, about 5 to 6 years. I was in Southern California.
Oh,
I
okay.
I I went to school called UC Riverside.
Oh, yes, yes. Uh-huh.
And then after that, I moved to Northern California and stayed there about 15 years. So altogether, I lived in the United States for about 20 years. Yes.
Okay. And but you've been back in Japan for a while, and
Right. For
you
about 20 years. So my English get it rusty. So this is
okay.
the first time I speak with you in English, and seems like your English is better than your Japanese. Is that right?
Well, I'm not sure if I should thank you or, but yeah, but that's true because I've been in the U.S. for 25 years plus. So I'm totally used to English better than Japanese. I really haven't spoken Japanese for
Mm.
25 years. So I am kind of translating from English to Japanese. So my,
Oh,
my
okay.
Japanese is pretty, yeah. Or from my like a junior high level, or my vocabulary is gone. But anyway, well, welcome, welcome. So, so you are IT journalist. That's what I see on Wikipedia. And
Right.
but also you have done a lot of different things, including you've written about AI or studied about AI. You have some
Mhm.
workshop for young people who you talk about AI, IT, and also these days you are translating or summarizing English books that have not been translated into Japanese yet and introducing through YouTube to the Japanese
Right. For
audience.
last about last 1 year or so, I've been doing that. I've been trying to be a YouTuber, but not not very successful. But yeah, I enjoy doing that. Yes.
Okay, great. So I want to hear, well, there's so much to, unpack here, but I want to hear about your spiritual path, your meditation, your awakening experience.
Okay.
We talked a little bit about Headless Way the other day, so that's
Uh-huh.
really fascinating story. And then maybe your everyday things, your work, what's going on. So anything.
Yeah.
I really don't have any agenda. I just wanted to, hear your story because you have a lot of stories to tell. So maybe you can introduce yourself, maybe where you have been, maybe briefly, and but also maybe the first thing is more like a towards the spiritual path because this is about awakening and satori. So maybe you can tell us about briefly your kind of past history and then how you got here spiritually. So
Okay. Well, as a regular Japanese, I was raised in the Buddhist home. My parents are very devoted Buddhist, and we go to our ancestors' graveyard once a month. So they are very religious in a way. But when I went to the U.S. for the first time, um, well, I guess I just wanted to make friends first, and easiest way to make friends is go to church, I think. So I went to churches in Southern California, and then I got a lot of friends, uh, Christian friends. I still have we still keep in touch with Christian friends in Southern California, and then I got baptized as a Christian.
oh wow. Mm.
So I attended a lot of Bible study classes, and I was fascinated by the idea of Christianity. One of the things really touched me, or really uh, dawned on me, that this truth dawned on me, is that Christian in the Bible it says that you should love your neighbors as much as you love yourself. In Buddhist way, I think Buddhists tend to say you should love others more than you love yourself.
Mhm.
But in Bible it says love yourself as much as yourself. So important thing is love yourself first. If you don't love yourself, you cannot love others. And I thought that was so true. And that's one thing I really learned a lot through Christianity. So I have a lot of respect for Christianity.
Mhm.
But I came back to Japan, and then of course there are a lot of Buddhist influences in Japan, and the Buddhism is very fascinating to me too. So I was basically interested in the truth. What is the truth, and what's the future is going to be? Because I'm an IT journalist, my job is to predict what's going to happen in 5, 10 years. But what's the actual ultimate truth? What is the ultimate future that we are heading to? That's something I've been really been interested in. So to me, learning about future, learning about technology is not so much different from learning the truth, the spirituality. I think those two things. I thought those things going to be connected some way in the future.
Mhm.
So I've been always interested in the technology and also spirituality. And some of my friends thought that how come you're going into two different ways? It's totally different. Technology and spirituality is totally different things. But it's it's the same, or it's climbing the mountain from the different side of the mountain. So
Mhm.
eventually they're gonna meet at the top. The summit of the mountain is gonna be the same. So to me, it's no difference between learning about technology and learning about spirituality. So I've been interested in spirituality all along in a sense. But after I came back to Japan, I was working as a reporter for a company, newspaper company. Then I decided to quit because I wanted to try other things, and the job there wasn't get getting the job there is was getting boring, because after a certain age, after you turn 40, you no longer work as a journalist. You have to be a member of the management, and I didn't want to be a manager. I want to be a reporter all my life. So I quit the company, and I I became freelance, and becoming freelance was very scary because there's no security. You have to worry about your money constantly, and then the first year I lost all my savings. I was gradually losing spending my savings, and first year I it went down to like my savings went down to like $10. I have only $10 in my bank. I have a family. I have two kids and wife, and I have only $10 in the bank. And that was really scary experience. And I didn't become depressed, but I thought being depressed or being うつってなんて言うんですか? Being
Depression, depressed.
depression. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's really easy to be sick mentally. I thought
Right.
anybody can go down this path. It's so fast. Once you going down the path, you go
Mhm.
deeper and deeper and become really sick mentally. Anybody can be that way, I thought.
Mm.
So at that time, I thought I gotta do something about it. I gotta do something about it to be healthy mentally.
Mm.
So I I tried. Some of my friends were doing meditation and stuff. So okay, maybe I should start trying meditation. And then that was about 10, 15 years ago, I think.
Mm.
Then I was doing meditation and also self assertion thing, like I'm gonna be okay, I'm gonna be okay. Keep telling myself every day.
Mm.
Then I was doing that, and all of a sudden I thought I got really happy. All of a sudden, boom! Wow! I don't know why, but all of a sudden I got really happy for about a couple of days. So I thought, wow, this is great. But then I thought to myself, I should keep doing this because if I keep on doing this, then I my fear is gonna be gone someday. So I kept on doing it, and then I started other try a lot of things, meditation, and also I started doing yoga about 12 years ago, and then meditation, yoga, and stuff like that. Then 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 3 years ago, 2 years ago, I wanted to go to New York during fall season, the autumn New York. I want to see that the Hudson River is full of trees changing colors. Wow, I want to go to New York. And I told one of my friends who runs a company, and she said, "Yes, I want to go to." She never been to New York during the fall season. Then I told her. It's gonna be great. It's so beautiful. Hudson River is gonna be so beautiful. Since she got really excited, so why don't we make a tour, invite some other friends, and like about 10 people go to New York together. But I had to tell my family
Mm.
that it's not going to be fun. It cannot be a fun trip. It has to be a business trip to
Right.
tell my family and everybody. So oh, we gotta do some business thing. So let's attend some technology conference. And we have 2 days. We we stayed about 7 days in New York, just having fun. Went to wine country and ate pizza and ate steak, and we did all the fun things. And two things we decided to do something business like. Then I look around and let's go to a technology conference, and they say, yeah, let's go. And we look around and we have only 2 days, and two that's then like we cannot find any famous conferences fit right into our schedule. But there's one conference in Silicon Valley. I never heard of this conference. Transtech conference. I thought, what the heck is this? I didn't know. I didn't know what it was, but it's okay. It's something technology. As long as it's technology, it can be a business. So we decided to go to this conference and attended the Transtech conference for the first time about 3 years ago. And that was very interesting because half of the attendees are hippies. Half of them are really well dressed, suit and everything, and half of them are hippies. And what kind of conferences is these people are crazy or something? But but the conference itself was very interesting, and the conference was giving away a book called The Finders, written by Jeffrey Martin. And I went home and read the book, and I got really blown away. that book was fantastic. And that's I've been curious about what's going to happen when I enlighten, when I reach Satori state. What's going to be like? I didn't know. But he interviewed about hundreds and hundreds of people who have been reached that state, and there's a actual experiences of real tale of the experiences. So I thought this book was great, and I got real interested. It really interested in this subject. But at the same time, the friends I went there with got really uh, impressed by that this conference, and they said, "Hey, let's bring this conference to Japan." And I wasn't interested in bringing the conference to Japan. I was just interested in the book and the work of the Jeffrey. But my friends were interested in bringing that conference to Japan. So we decided to go back to California next year to talk to Jeffrey and other people who are running the conference. Then that's how I get to know the subject. I get to know Jeffrey, and they decided to invite Jeffrey to a Zen 2.0 conference. There's an international wisdom well-being conference in Kamakura City near Tokyo, and my friends are running the conference, and they want to invite Jeffrey as a speaker. So I helped them negotiate with Jeffrey, and I when Jeffrey came to Japan, I went to pick him up at the airport and stuff and show him around. So I got to talk with Jeffrey, and I asked him a lot of questions. Then I got more and more interested in the subject. So that's how I got into this thing. And then I thought this was great book and this is great subject. So I wrote couple about several articles on the finders, the book The Finders, and also so at that time I thought I had to translate this book because I had to know, I had to let Japanese people know about this thing. This is great work. So I started translating it. So in order to translate, I thought I better understand the subject better. So I decided to take the Finders course. Then I took the Finders course about 2 years ago, I think. Then I stopped translating though. I don't know. By taking the Finders course, my all my questions were answered. I was curious about a lot of things, but all my questions were answered, and as soon as my questions were answered, I lost interest. I got lost interest in translating. I don't care about what other people think. I know all the answers already, so I lost interest. I stopped translating, and then at the same time, a friend of mine, Ai-san, she said, well, I want to translate this book. I said, go ahead, please, take all my work. So she's now translating it into Japanese now. But
Mhm.
okay, that's how I got into the finders and stuff
Right.
like
Yeah.
that.
So I want to hear more about the actual experience you've had, uh,
Okay.
either from the exercises during the course, like especially something, either really dramatic, either during that time, or I know we recently talked about the method is called the headless way, which is, available just, from the headless way, the Richard Lang. He has a website, and you don't have to take the finder's course, but it's available for people to exercise. So maybe you can tell me about those kind of very interesting experience, different attaining different states and feeling like you are headless, so to speak.
Okay. Like I said, I the first time I experienced this peak experience of happiness was about 10 years ago or something, and that experience was so happy. I wanted to repeat that again and again, and I tried a lot of different things, to reach that state of mind again. But it was difficult to reproduce the experience. It's almost like just pure luck that I get that peak experience. So there's no certain way that if I do this, I always get into this mental state. No, there's nothing like that. I've been trying a lot of things, but all of a sudden, I don't know why, but all of a sudden it get into me and I got really happy. So that kind of thing happens like several times during this 10 years. And one of the reasons I was one of the things I want to get out of this finder's course was I wanna get this peak experience easily. Anytime I want to get into this state of mind, I want to be able to do that. So I thought maybe taking this finder's course, I can get into that state of mind that I can get happy anytime I want. But that wasn't I didn't get that through that finder's course. And finder's course was kind of hard for me because there's so much things to do, so many videos to watch. On top of that, 1 or 2 hours meditation every day. There's so many things. So it was tough, but especially the positive psychology exercises were kind of tough. I know it's very useful and effective. I Before I took this finder's course, I knew that this positive psychology experience was useful. I tried that before, like think of the 5 things that you you can thankful, you can appreciate in your life. Like, oh, the sun goes up. I really appreciate that. I'm thankful for that, and stuff like that. And if you keep on doing that, of course you get happy. Anybody can be happy, I thought. So that was good, but I was kind of it was kind of hard to think of 5 or 10 new things every morning. It was kind of hard, and but after I doing that for about 2 months, I guess I got really happy, and I got too happy that I don't feel like working anymore. I'm just happy being here, just sitting on my chair. I don't want anything more. So I lost the motivation to work, and especially when I write stuff, write articles. There's something I want to tell the readers. There's some agenda I have, or some I don't know. Sometimes it's anger.
Right.
Sometimes it's just the superiority feeling that I know this. You guys don't know yet. I know this. That I want to show off my how much I know and stuff like that. But after taking the finder's course, those kind of anger and fear and superiority complexes are gone. So there's nothing more I want to tell you. So I cannot write my articles, and at, at writing articles is okay because there's nobody is watching it, me writing. But when I'm giving speech, all of a sudden I stop wanted to say something. Before finance course, I could talk about 3-4 hours nonstop. There's so many things I wanna get across to people when I make speech. But after the finance course, there's nothing I want to tell people. So if I stop, my mind goes blank, and I tell myself, hey, I gotta say something. I gotta say something. Say something. Say something. Then only thing that comes up to me is, I love you all. I love you guys. That's the only thing I can say. There's nothing more. There's no more message I have for people. So I thought, gosh, I cannot keep on doing this. I lose my job. I have my family to support. I cannot support them if I can. I may be happy, just sitting here, but I I have a responsibility to take care of my family, so I cannot go on doing that. So I stopped doing this positive psychology exercise every morning. I hated the exercise anyway, so it's a uh, good reason for me to stop doing that. So in a way, it kind of slows me down in the path of finders. But so in a way, I haven't really finished everything that I learned in Finder's course. The first half of it, I've been trying. I tried very rigorously, but the second half I was kind of slacked off, and so I didn't do a lot of things seriously. And one of the things I didn't do seriously was the headless way exercise. I saw the video, and if you move your hand like this, move your hands disappear. Huh? Of course it disappears. What I'm talking about, because you cannot see that. What kind of exercise is this? You're pointing your finger at yourself. What is it? Huh? I don't know. It's me. I thought this is a ridiculous thing to do, and I didn't know why this Jeffrey recommended this exercise. I didn't get that at all, and I wrote a blog post about it. I don't understand this exercise at all. What good would it do? I don't. So, but still, I thought something stuck in my mind. What is this? How come so many people like this exercise? How come so many people change their mental state through this exercise? Is possible? That kind of thing stays in my mind, back in the mind, my mind all the time. Then after I graduated from that, I finished that finder's course about year and a half later or something. I thought, hey, maybe I should try headless way again. I tried a lot of different things, and I wanted to try a new thing, I guess. I've been doing all the same meditation over and over again, so maybe I should try that headless way again. Then I tried that. I guess that was about 6 months ago, something, and all of a sudden I go like that, same exercise. Boom! I became, wow, I'm headless. I got it. This is what it means. I got it. No, all of a sudden I got that. And so that was an interesting experience. So I wanted to tell everybody, hey, headless way is great. But of course, nobody understands. What are you talking about? What's this exercise? Nobody understands. Not many people understand it. But at that time, I really wanted to tell somebody. So I told you, Edison. I told you, Edison. I know what you mean. Wow, somebody understood. Great. So I was really happy that you responded to me. That I know what you mean. Yeah, it gets like that. Yeah.
Yes, yes.
So headless way was great. Well, I haven't been doing that headless way for a while, but that's really changed my state of mind, I guess.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So actually, before this one, I was rewatching the interview I did in Japanese in
Uh huh.
January. So one thing you mentioned is maybe related to the positive psychology. You say anybody can be happy, any can experience the happy state.
Uh huh.
But at the same time, you also mentioned, a little bit earlier too, it's difficult to attain. So, especially before Finder's course, you were trying to reproduce the peak experience. So you had a hard time, trying to go back to the peak experience. So, well, what do you think right now? Do you think it's anybody can attain it, or do you think it's too difficult to attain certain state?
Peak experience, it's very hard, I think. It's not something you can reproduce. It just comes to you.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what makes it happen, but it's something. It's almost like accident. You cannot plan anything.
Mm-hmm.
Because, but being happy, I think anybody can attain being happy if you keep on doing this positive psychology exercise.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, your brain rewire itself, and to it's and it, you get easier. It gets easier for you to be happy if the brain wired itself.
Mm-hmm.
So 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 if you want, I don't know if people will like my this statement, and maybe a lot of people disagree with me, but I think unhappy people, I think that's their choice. If you choose to be happy,
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of things you can do. The positive psychology exercise, and also like also laughing, laughing yoga.
Uh-huh.
You
Right.
know,
Mm-hmm.
if you laugh like 20 minutes a day with no reason,
Right.
if you do that, if you keep on doing that for, I don't know, for about 3 months,
Mm-hmm.
you brain rewire itself, and you get easier to get to laugh. And so rewiring your brain isn't that hard, I think. So
Mm-hmm.
anybody who wants to be happy, you can be happy. That's what I believe.
Okay. So, in your opinion, so being happy, most of the time being happy, and then there's a peak experience. So, where does this, what they call Satori or enlightenment, where do you think? Is it on a spectrum or is this something different?
See, I don't know what Satori is actually. A lot of people say a lot of different things. So, well, I think Satori is rewiring of your brain.
Mm-hmm.
So, if you keep on doing this positive psychology exercise or laughing yoga,
Mm-hmm.
it changes your brain's wire,
Yeah.
and then eventually you get to that enlightenment. And that's my definition of Satori. So anybody can do that.
Mm-hmm.
uh, the peak experience, one time peak experience, I don't know if it's Satori, because after the one time peak experience you get back to your old brain wiring.
Mm-hmm.
Your brain wiring hasn't changed. It
Mm-hmm.
just somehow it it connected in accidentally, it connects different way. It's just accident. So it's not that regular state of being.
Mm-hmm.
So Satori is more like a regular state of being.
Mm-hmm.
And total rewiring your brain is Satori, I think. So one time peak experience is just an accident, I think.
Mm-hmm.
But
Yeah.
but maybe if you keep on experiencing this one time peak experience, then your brain may rewire into enlightenment wires. I don't know. So that's what at first I thought. If I keep on experiencing this peak experience, then eventually my brain rewires into enlightened state. But I don't know if it works that way or not.
So at this point, do you think is it important to have a peak experience, or maybe just doing positive psychology or laughing yoga, you'll be happy, your brain's rewired, maybe you are in the Satori state. So do you think it's necessary to at any point to have a peak experience, and is that a must, or do you have to have a peak experience to be enlightened, so to speak?
You don't have to have a peak experience to be enlightened, but you don't. sh- Do I have to have? No, I don't have to have peak experience, but I want to have. I
Yeah.
want to experience it. It's so much fun. It's
Mhm.
so happy, and it lasts couple days, and that is really great experience. So I want to experience that, but I don't try as hard as before. I know it's just an accident, so doesn't matter how hard you try, you don't get it when you don't get it, and when you get it anyway. So I stopped trying to attain that state of mind. But
Mhm.
yes, I'm hoping. Yeah, I'm still hoping that I get into that state. So because it feels so good.
Mhm.
But at the same time, the before I get this when the first couple times when I experienced that peak experience, my regular state of mind was not as happy as today. I am today.
Mhm.
So so really happy to regular state.
Mhm.
Then I go back to regular state. Then I want to become really happy several years ago. But now my regular state is quite happy, happy enough.
Yeah.
So I don't have to be that peak experience. The regular state of mind is good enough. So I guess that's why I don't have to be in that super happy state
Mhm.
anymore. but still, I wanna attain that state if I can, but I don't try at all these days.
Yeah. Sometimes we hear about certain people's really amazing peak experience, whether it lasted for the rest of their lives or it's just one time. But when you hear it, other people wants to have that experience. That sounds so good. So or somebody experienced it one time and like it happened to you for a while, you just kind of go after that experience to have that same experience.
Mhm.
So that sometimes in a gateway to get into the spiritual path. Like some people get the experience with a drug, using LSD or something, and then get that, wow, this is a human experience. I want to have that some more. How do I do that? And maybe we can do without drugs. So that I think at least it's a gateway for some people. But at the same time, I agree that it's not necessarily necessary to have that, at least all the time. Yeah. But also something you mentioned in the other interview too. So maybe like everybody can attain this happy state, steady happy state with various things. So maybe there are more enlightened people out there, walking around just regular people, everyday people. There might be, more than we think. Maybe they are not labeled as enlightened people or people with the Satori. So what do you think about that? Maybe there are like a people out there, maybe, maybe not just happy, but some people who are more awakened, that whether they realize it or not. What do you think?
Then again, it depends on the definition of enlightenment and
Hmm.
satori. But according to Jeffrey's definition, the beginning of the enlightenment is the location one, which is that you are not controlled by your fear anymore. You basically you know your life is going to be okay no matter what. And if that's the entrance of the enlightenment, then I'll say there's a lot of people who feels that way, who feel that way. I have a lot of friends who feel, hey, my life is going to be okay no matter what, you know.
Hmm.
I know quite a few friends who don't do any meditation at all, but they reach that state of mind. So if that's a part of or entrance of Satori, then I would say they are enlightened. And there's quite a few people like that, I think.
Hmm. Yeah. So, do you have a like a mission? I think. Oh, the other thing you mentioned is I think I asked you the same question last time, but you said something I really agree to. Like your life is kind of unfolding by itself. Like you don't really have to have a goal. Like this is what I'm gonna do. This is what I'm going to achieve. But instead, you just kind of take something that appears in front of you. Do you still feel that way? Like your life is kind of unfolding by itself, 'cause something you're supposed to do just show up in front of you, like, synchronicity, like the right thing happens at the right time.
Mhm. Looking back my life, I realized that whatever I want comes to me.
Hmm.
The one time, I don't say this anymore, but I used to say my hobby, one of my hobbies is making miracles. I can make miracles, and make miracle is real lot of fun. I used to say that because miracles happen to me.
Hmm.
Uh, for instance, when I was working for this company, I was working on the fourth floor, and fourth floor was company president floor, and all the executives were on the floor. So there's a lot of old people, old men, old male were there, and there's one really beautiful young female working there. And I thought, wow, I wanna talk with her. I wanna talk with her. Then I didn't get to talk with her. I thought, wow, what a beautiful person. What a beautiful lady. Then I thought, it would be nice if I get to know her, or if I become friends, or maybe we can go to different places together. And I imagine all those stupid things. Then then this person came to the study session I I was holding 5 years ago or something. All of a sudden, she showed up to my study session, and we became friends. And a bunch of us went to went to a small island in Japan, and we had a camping, and we had a lot of fun. So looking back, you know, what I if I make a wish that comes true, and quite often that happens, then at first I like that I can wish something and that comes to comes into reality. I really like that ability, but after a while, after I noticed that whatever I wish for, that reality comes to me.
Mhm.
I this if After I realized this truth, I thought, hey, I don't want to stop wishing. I want to stop wishing anymore because if I wish something, that happens.
Mhm.
I don't want. It's no fun if you know that that's gonna happen to me. It's no fun. So I stop wishing for something. Then I just want to enjoy whatever comes to me as a surprise. I like surprise. I Life is full of surprise, and I want to enjoy that instead of you know making that happen because I have the ability. I think anybody has the ability to make whatever they want to come into reality. So I stop wishing. So I stop planning things. I just enjoy that a lot of new things comes to my way, and but I don't wish for anything. But I know good. I know that my life goes to a certain direction by looking around carefully because you see a lot of different signs. Uh, Things happen simultaneously, you know. So then it always goes into certain direction. Then I think, oh, I am going this way because everything working toward this way, without me trying. All the right pieces fall into the puzzle,
Mhm.
and I don't have to do anything. I just, oh, okay. Since everything is getting ready for me to go this way, okay, I'll go this way.
Mhm.
So in a way that I know which way that in a way I can see the future coming to me, but so that's why I don't want to plan anything. If I plan, it's no fun. There's no surprises. So I stop planning.
Mm. So what's happening right now? Which direction you feel like you're going?
Uh,
You don't want to say it because it might come true.
I'll say like this. This is like what we're doing right now. Uh, After I came back to Japan, I don't have much opportunities to speak English. And I thought speaking English, being bilingual is one of my skills that I cherish. And I should take advantage of this skill more often, I think. But I haven't been doing that. I've been doing only writing in Japanese and interviewing people in Japanese, stuff like that.
Mhm.
But lately, I get uh, opportunities like this for me to speak English. So, oh, okay, I'm going to this direction. I'll be spending more time speaking English, and I've been talking with people with English speakers. That's the future. That's the future I'm going to, I think. So I don't go against. I want to go along with that wind. I don't want to go against the wind. So
Mhm.
okay, I'll be doing more of this kind of thing, speaking English or English related things. I think
Mhm.
that's my future. I think.
Yeah. So sounds like that's kind of expanding. I don't want to predict your future or limit anything, but sounds like you're expanding. So whatever you're doing or connecting, between what you're doing in Japan and English speaking countries. So yeah, I'll love to invite you back again sometime. And I have lots of people to interview, but I'd like to kind of that's also my niche, so to speak. I can talk to invite people in the U.S. already. But also, I think it's interesting for people to hear your perspective, unique perspective, who grew up in Japan and grew up in a Buddhist tradition and then came to the US and touched on the Christianity and just so interesting. And then your perspective on Satori or synchronicity, they might call law of attraction, over here. So I think that those kind of exchange of culture, different perspectives, I think those are really interesting things. So maybe we can do more collaboration in one way or another. So yeah. So, well, thank you so much. I think so. I think probably we'll have a more to talk about. And next time I'll fix Facebook so I can do this live instead of recording. So it was unexpected because the first time I did it was so easy. So, but anyway, I'll fix it and hopefully we can do it live or I can put it on YouTube or we'll figure something out. But anyway, so do you have any last word you want to say? This is for people, may not, take finder's course or anything like that, but somebody who are in general interested in meditation, enlightenment, awakening. I think more like can I get there or is it possible? Can I feel so happy like he does all the time? So maybe some message like that for people who are feeling that way.
Hmm. Well, actually, this is no message or anything, but this is one thing I noticed that
Mm-hmm.
the Westerners, Americans who are interested in this subject, and Japanese who are interested in these subjects, there's a certain differences. And Western people, English-speaking people, more I don't know how to say it, logical,
Yeah.
and Japanese people. See, I'm a very logical person. I think like Americans. I want logic to be perfect, but the some of my friends, the Japanese friends, especially females,
Mm-hmm.
they don't they don't care about logic as much, and they get this thing, this directly. They don't have to think to understand this enlightenment and stuff. So I give speeches about this finder's course, stuff like that, and how Jeffries and make that these locations. I thought that was very interesting. But some of my audiences, especially female audiences, they don't get they don't get excited about this, the categories. And one girl came up to me and said, "Why do you think this is? You talk like this is something very interesting. Don't you think this is interesting? Because there's locations." And she said, "No, it doesn't matter. When you get it, you get it. You don't have to categorize like this. I don't understand why you need to categorize like that. Some
Yeah.
Japanese people tend to be that way. They don't have being to be logical to get into this state of mind.
More
And
intuitive, you just get it, you get it.
right, and mindless hitless way is the same thing. They are very logical. Their explanation is very logical. So for some people it helps to be logical to get into this state,
Mm-hmm.
but others, you know it, it doesn't help. It prevents almost if you become too logical.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know what is good. It depends on the person. If you're a too logical person, then maybe logical explanation may be able to help you. But if you're not logical, you don't need this kind of logical explanation. So people who are not logical, maybe there's a better way to get into enlightenment. Maybe the Japanese way of getting into enlightenment is better.
Mm-hmm.
So it depends on the person how logical they are. There's definitely there's a difference between Japanese and American way of thinking.
Mm. Yeah. Sort of what you were saying, like there's a mountain and different ways to get to the top, but there this way, the right brain way or left brain way or logical way, intuitive way. But just before this session, I was practicing direct inquiry
Hmm.
with some people. So that's very logical. So you just
Right.
ask, it's very brainy, very logical, conceptual. So you ask, who are you? What are you?
Hmm.
Until the point that that logic fails. So you
Hmm.
just kind of dig and dig and dig until you just cannot deal with it with the logical thinking anymore. And that's where the breakthrough comes in. So I don't want to get into that right now. But anyway, so that's another way, just logic, logic, logic. But at some point, you just cannot explain it with logic. And then maybe something happens at that point. Maybe intuition comes in, or right brain kicks in, or something like that. So
Mhm.
anyway, that's another topic for another day, maybe.
Okay.
So anyway, well, thank you so much. It's
Thank
been
you very
very
much.
fun. Yeah. So yeah, hopefully we can do this again very
Okay.
soon.
It was
And
a lot of fun.
really,
Thank you.
okay,
Bye
talk
bye.
to you soon. Bye bye.